Oh, always a laugh. Good way to start off. Hope everybody's having a good one. Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator with Cookie Pirate. I've had a couple technical difficulties getting this set up, but here we are. Hopefully this will do it. Today we're flying from Columbia, South Carolina down to Savannah, Georgia in the Diamond DA40. We're going to 8,500 feet. It's 109 miles straight line. And yeah, it should be 45 to 50 minutes. Sky Vector said 45 minutes. The sim says 51. It'll be somewhere between there. But yeah. Climb aboard, let's go flying. And it is good to be back. I know I haven't been flying lately. Had a lot going on. Trying to take care of some other stuff and just take a break from this for a little bit. But it sure is good to be back. Hope you all have been well. Hope everybody's enjoying the weekend so far. Okay, here we are loaded in on the ground at South Carolina. Loaded in on the ground at Columbia in South Carolina, I should say. Alright. From this spot here, the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is release the parking brake and get a pushback. So we have a little more room to maneuver. I mean, we're probably okay from where we're at, but just as an extra level of precaution. Tell you what, while we are getting the pushback, let's go ahead and get the weather here at Columbia. 080 at 8 knots. So that means probably runway 11 is going to be the best for departure. 10 miles visibility, few clouds at 6,000, 18,000 scattered, 29 Celsius, and 30.17 on the altimeter. Pretty good weather. Not as humid as it usually is, although it is fairly warm. Check outside real quick. Alright, pushback right there is good. Very nice. Set the parking brake back on here. Now let's go ahead and do our regular pre-flight. Avionics are off, essential bus is off, electric master is off, pitot heat is off, fuel transfer is off, flaps are up. Fuel pumps are off, the engine master is off and guarded, ECU is auto, cockpit lights are off, landing light, taxi, nav lights, strobe lights are all off, emergency lights, or emergency switch is off and guarded. ELT is armed, circuit breakers are in. And down here, throttle is idle, fuel selector is set to normal, trim is set to take off, and 2.7 on the engine time. Alright, everything is looking good so far, so the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is turn the engine master on, electric master on, rightmost switch to initialize that panel. The AHRS alignment is in progress. Check a couple things here real quick. Flight controls, rudder is good. Elevator is good. Ailerons are good. Back into the cockpit. Now normally I fly the Cirrus, and the checklists are a fair bit different in this plane. Flaps set to half, they're good. Now full, we want to make sure that the flaps have full travel. They are down at full, bring them both up. Good. Set them to half, but we're going to leave them there until we take off. Strobe lights on when we get ready for our engine start. Fuel pump on. Clear left ring. Wing, clear, right wing. Wow. Left wing. Left wing, right wing. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Alright, those are good. Let's go ahead and engage the starter. Clear! Engine is started. We immediately have good oil pressure. Oil temperature is in the yellow, but at the top and it is starting to rise, so we're going to be okay. Engine is idling at about 850. That is good. 4% load. The altimeter I think we said was 30.17, so let's go ahead and set that. Yep. That is good. I just set the trim wheel on my flight control. Okay. Avionics can come on. Everything is looking pretty good so far. We can go ahead and turn the position or nav lights on. We will zoom in on the map. Columbia is not a really tough airport to figure your way around. We're basically going to turn, and then we're going to go right down to the end of 1-1. You could take the second intersection right here, rather than full length. I mean, the diamond doesn't require a lot of takeoff distance, so we'll be airborne and can probably turn and intercept the GPS track right here. Alright. Let's go ahead and release the parking brake. Pull back on the power just a little bit there. We don't really want our RPMs going too high. But yeah, here's the taxiway. Or is this? No, this is the taxi lane. Okay. Well, we can continue this way, and we'll just make a turn. Kadir, welcome. Good to see you. This isn't marked, so this probably isn't ideal for passage for aircraft. But then again, we are also running stock scenery, so we don't have 100% accurate scenery for the airport. Taxiways, etc. The runways you can count on because they're nav data. Taxiways, no. Yeah, there's the movement area boundary marking, so that means this is the true taxiway up ahead. So we'll continue out here. And that's to the runway. Oh, this is weird, yeah. Look at, I mean, all the taxiway center, or edge lights right out in the center of the taxiway. So there's definitely something wonky there. We're going to runway 11 for takeoff. Kadir, good to have you back, my friend. Simfly A320, welcome. Are you a real pilot? Private, yes. Not commercial. And it has been a long time since I've been flying. I do work in airfield operations and management, though. So, when it comes to airfield markings, signs, lights, etc., stuff like that, I know my way around it really well. In the air, I'm kind of rusty. I'll be the first to admit that. The stream would be much better without the music. You really think so? I can understand where you're coming from, but for me, the music's kinda something to kind of help, you know, just add something other than engine noise. I can certainly turn the music down if you think it's too loud. I just like having something in the background to listen to. And I do have the ability to have music audible to myself and not to the stream, but I just feel it would be kind of empty. without it. Alright, here we are. Here's the enhanced center line, which means we're coming up to the whole position marking. Right ahead. Shorter runway 11. It's kinda loud. Okay. Alright, hold on a second. Let me bump it down, and you tell me if that's still too loud or if that's a little better. I don't want it to be distracting, but I don't want just empty engine noise for the flight, if you know what I mean. So there's kind of a, it's kind of striking a balance, you know. Sit fly, wow, I wish I was a pilot. Hey, it is never too late to learn. Get out there and do it, man. Alright. Understand you, man. Thank you. Yeah, if that's better, let me know. Hopefully I can strike a balance. You know, where it isn't too loud and distracting, but I just don't want it feeling empty. Alright, here we are at the hold position marking for runway 11. Good view of the wind cone. Alright. Real quick, let's go ahead and do the before takeoff. Lights are on. We forgot to turn the taxi lights. Landing light can come on though. Those stay on. Fuel pumps are on. Parking brake is set. We will release it. Those are good. Tank is set to normal. Trim is set to take off. Throttle's jumping because my HOTAS doesn't want to cooperate sometimes. Let's go ahead and zoom out here. Whoops. I need to reverse those controls. Alright, let's go ahead and set the autopilot up real quick. Altitude, we are cruising at 8,500. FLC is on, and we're going to set the speed to 88 knots. A VNAV on. Nav on. And let's just real quick check the weather again, make sure we didn't have any updates, changes. Yeah, it's all the same. Good. Alright, left turn onto the runway. Our takeoff procedure is going to be this. We'll taxi out, go full throttle forward. Rotate 69 at full gross weight, which we're light, so we can probably lift off. I would say we can rotate at probably 64 to 65. We'll lift off about 70. We'll climb out to 88 knots, and we will engage the autopilot 800 feet above the ground, which is 1,000 feet on the altimeter setting down here. And we'll from there have a pretty easy flight. Let's release the parking brake. Out onto the runway, one last check. Clear left, or clear right now. Clear left. Final checklist here. Landing light is on. Nav light, strobe lights on. Yeah, everything's good. Have center line and TDZ lights here. Interesting. That's one thing I wish I had. But we don't have that at the airport that I work at. Alright, full power forward. Our airspeed is already alive at 28 knots, despite that we were doing in the low 20s on the ground. 65 we can rotate. We're airborne at 67. Wow. There we are. We're kind of in ground effect, letting the airplane accelerate with little resistance. bring the flaps up here. We're at 88. Let's climb out at that. So we're going to pitch up. And we're between 80 and 88, which is where we want to be. As long as we're above 70, we're safe. But we're climbing kind of slow at the moment. Pitch up a little bit more. 800. We can actually go ahead and begin the right turn now. Just don't want to engage the autopilot until you're 800 feet above the ground, but as long as you're 500 feet above, you can safely begin a turn. Alright, we can engage the autopilot. There's runway 5, that's the secondary runway there at Columbia. Little light turbulence, not bad. Alright. We're gonna go ahead, pull the throttle back to 92%. It's kind of fluctuating a little bit. 95 is standard for a climb out. 92 is safe running speed. That's the maximum that you can have the engine set at for your cruise speed. You can't go in the Diamond DA40. You cannot go at full power, 100%, longer than I believe it's 2 minutes. So basically, for takeoff and until you get to a safe altitude after takeoff, then you pull back generally to 95%, and then once you set up for a cruise climb procedure, you'll pull back to 92 or so, and then your cruise can be anywhere from 50% up to about 90%. So we're going to leave it here for right now. We're getting just a little better than 1,000 feet per minute to climb. Flaps are up. Landing light can come off right now. There we are, coming up through 2,800. Grab a look outside. So there's the airport. We took off this way and turned and came back kind of this way here. The city of Columbia is, yeah, right back there. This is West Columbia. This is Lexington. And out that way is just kind of a bunch of hill country and forests and stuff like that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the map. Columbia and Savannah. So I've flown from Augusta, which is over here. This is the airport that I work at, Augusta, down to Hilton Head several times, and we're kind of crossing over that route down toward the end portion of it. So we're going south and a tiny bit to the west here. We'll pass over, I believe this is north, and then Orangeburg, Allendale, Walterboro further out, Beaufort Marine Corps Station, I believe, and Hilton Head, and then Savannah International down here. So we're going over to, well, we're going to and from two decent-sized commercial airports, but comfortable to fly in for GA pilots. Take a look around. Yeah, it's getting a little cloudy down that way. Beautiful up around here. I mean, it's crystal clear to the west, to the north, and to like the northeast, to the east. And this direction it kind of clouds over a little bit, but we should have pretty decent weather. excuse me. I'd been thinking of doing a flight up around Alaska. Unfortunately up there I believe summer is over. The weather around there was not very good, except in a few places, and it's cold. Well, I shouldn't say cold compared to like winter cold, but it's very mild compared to, well, I mean, just about everywhere else right now. I mean, you're hard pressed to find any temperatures up there above 15 Celsius. Where, of course, we had 20, 25, 30 in some spots last month. Really looking forward to doing some Alaska flying in the wintertime once the temperatures get below freezing and below 0 Fahrenheit, which is minus 18 Celsius. And the weather gets really interesting once you get into the deep cold like that. Also, October, November, you're going to start having really short days in some parts of the state. And the northern lights will start becoming really visible up there. And Flight Sim 24 releases, I believe it's November 19th. Super looking forward to that. We're going to be doing Flight Sim 24 up in Alaska when it comes out. Winter, northern lights, everything like that. My other option today was Chile. But it would have meant probably a longer flight. Alright, here we are. We're leveling off at 8,500. We're going to go ahead and pull the power back to... We'll cruise at 90% today. We've got enough fuel. And it's a fairly short flight. We'll just make sure that our speed doesn't go above VNO, which is normal operating speed, which on the indicator here is where the green turns to yellow. It's 128 knots, I believe. VNO is what they call maximum structural cruising speed, slash NO standing for normal operating speed. You can go above that only if the air is totally smooth and you use caution. Any gusts of wind or bumps of turbulence above that speed have the risk of stressing the airframe and can result in structural damage to the aircraft, which means some components of the airplane can be bent, and that can cause some obvious problems and would require repairs. If you're in totally smooth air, you really don't have to worry about that, but it's still, just because some of those bumps in the air can be unexpected, you really have to be careful with that. And we're right at it right now, so we're going to pull back to 85%. And we'll be cruising at about 128. And this is fairly smooth air. There's a tiny bit of, I guess you could call this light chop. There's something that you have to watch out for that is called, well, when I was flying 15 years ago, or when I learned, it was called VA. Today, it's called VO, which is your operating or maneuvering speed. VO, I believe, is operating maneuvering. VA was design maneuvering. Above that airspeed, you have to be careful if you're going into anything over light turbulence, which this right here, what we're dealing with, is light. If you get into moderate or worse turbulence, then you need to slow to below VA or VO to avoid overstressing the airframe due to G loads from any gusts of wind or unexpected G loads caused by turbulence. Yes, there are going to be labors in Flight Sim 24. I don't know exactly how it's going to be set up, but you do have different career paths that you can choose. So depending on the type of, I guess, so to speak, career that you want to have, they'll have missions based on that, and you build your time that way. Love airline, corporate pilot. Search and rescue is one. Air ambulance, agriculture, sightseeing, cargo, all that kind of stuff. I don't think I'm going to get too involved in that, given that I've always, I mean, ever since I started playing Flight Sim 10 15 years ago, well, it's been out almost 20 years. Yeah, I think I started playing it in 2009. And Flight Sim 10 came out in 2006. But ever since then, I've always been one just to pick a plane, load up somewhere, do something fun, and, you know, just go where I want to go, see what I want to see, fly the way I want to fly. That said, I think the career opportunities are going to be really fun. They've never been built out like they're going to be in 24. So if you like a certain type of flying style, or you like a certain activity, then that's going to be really well suited for you. Most people that stream Flight Sim or play it with any seriousness, from what I've noticed, tend to do airline stuff. I mean, they have the virtual airlines. Everybody likes, I mean, airline aircraft. A320s, 737s, 757s, maybe the A330s or A340s, I don't know. But I mean, people spend money setting up their simulators to be able to replicate those kinds of aircraft. And that's great. If you enjoy that, 150% go for it. I like the GA stuff because it's more true to what I know. And it also lets me enjoy it without having to shell out a ton of money to be able to fly this kind of stuff in the real world that I have done but just really don't get the chance to do anymore. There's something that's really authentic, and I'm not knocking commercial aviation at all, but there's just really something authentic about being able to fly these smaller GA planes. And just appreciating the simplicity of them. Dude, are you really that old? Yeah. Yeah, I'm 33, believe it or not. I'm kind of old for a flight simmer, but I'm not old for a flight simmer because I know people that are double my age that do that kind of stuff for fun. And, yeah, you know what else I just realized? I forgot to put the flight tracker up on the screen for you all to see. Let me get that taken care of. Better late than never. It's been so long. Alright, let me get this set up real quick. KCAE-KSAV. Alright, there we go. Yeah, about little over a quarter of the way, so not too bad. And I also just noticed that the screen is not centered. It's windowed mode. And every single time I have an update for Flight Sim, it resets that. And I don't understand why. There we go. About a half hour left. So the clouds are kind of building up to the south here, and we need to be careful. As a VFR pilot, we cannot proceed through any clouds. In fact, there are certain separation minimums that you have to have from the clouds. I believe in this airspace you have to be not less than 500 feet below or not more than 1,000 feet above, and you have to have 2,000 feet horizontal separation. Now, how do you judge that? It's difficult to judge without a ton of experience, but as a general rule of thumb, as long as you are remaining clear of the clouds, you're probably okay. Now, I'm not telling you to kind of skirt the FAA required minimums and stuff like that, but you don't have a yardstick or a meter stick off your wingtips, and it can be kind of tough to judge that sometimes. But what you do need to do is make a good effort to adhere to those requirements to the extent possible. Which obviously means don't fly into the clouds when you're supposed to not be near them. If you're closer than that 500 foot or 1,000 foot or 2,000 feet rule, just recognize it and move away. You know, if you're 1,900 feet horizontally from the clouds, are they gonna complain? Probably not. If you're flying through them and you're not instrument rated and you're not on an instrument flight plan, yeah, that's gonna be a problem. Don't do that. I don't recommend it. I recommend against it, in fact. Alright, let's take a look here. Orangeburg up there, Barnwell here. Which one is this here? Oh, Bamberg County. Okay. Yeah. Allendale. Walterboro. This is Hampton. Yep. And this is the Savannah River. Separates Georgia from South Carolina. And depending on the weather at Savannah, haven't checked it. We actually could find out right now. We may have the ability to land straight into runway 19 because the runways cross like that. 030 at 9. Ah! That means we have one of two options. We can We can go 10, actually we have 3 options. We can go 10, 28, or runway 1. I don't want to land this plane with a 9 knot tailwind. So, straight in is not going to be an option, unfortunately. Yeah, really looking forward to doing some more Alaska flying here. When the weather's decent, we'll do what we can. And when the weather sucks, we'll do what we can. I haven't really done much of it, but shooting approaches down to minimums, so much fun. It'll put your feet to the floor doing an approach down to minimums. I have done it down to 200 feet above minimums, and that was an experience. And keep in mind, I'm not an instrument rated pilot, so I have little IFR time. The clouds look very realistic. Well, over here, yes. The disappointing thing about Flight Sim 20 is that the high altitude clouds, like your cirrus clouds or cirrostratus, etc., stuff like that, do not look very realistic. But for low to mid-level clouds like these, yeah, they are decent. And we're about to fly through one. Tell you what, we've got 2 choices. We can fly around them, we can go over them. Actually, we have 3 choices as to go IFR. So you know what we may do? In the real world, what we would do right now is call whatever ATC facility provides approach services in the area. Whether that would be Columbia Approach, Savannah Approach, it could be one of these centers. We would call them up and tell them that we are requesting IFR clearance to go to Savannah. And they would probably give us instructions and give us a code, and we would fly it. Now, we're not going to do that right now, just for simplicity's sake, and since we're in the simulator. We're just going to go ahead through it. In the real world, keep in mind, what I just did flying through that cloud is not what you are supposed to do. You should fly low then, yeah. Actually, yeah, that is... Rather than going around it or above them, yes, you can descend to lower. However, knowledge of aviation weather will tell me that flying below these types of clouds will probably be not a very comfortable experience. So you'll probably be going through some light to moderate turbulence, which may require a reduction in your airspeed. It's going to take you longer to get to where you're going. Not only because you have to slow your indicated approach speed, or indicated airspeed down, but you also have to go lower, which means a lower true airspeed. So, it's a big loss of time. It's gonna result in a loss of pilot and passenger comfort. So, yes, you can. I wouldn't recommend it unless you had no other alternative. And it actually is quite bumpy up here, I'm surprised. Would have thought it would have smoothed out. Well, it is late summer over South Carolina and Georgia. You don't get this much in Alaska. It is what it is, though. Alright, we are at the halfway point. And it is kind of choppy. Allendale right here off the right wing. They're really in southern South Carolina, so to speak. Unless you're along the coast, there really isn't a whole lot to see. Are you saying it's much easier to come across? Come across the turbulence on low altitude? Not necessarily. But when you have clouds like this, yes, it is. And it's called convective turbulence because the air lower is rising. And the air rises and rises until it cools to the point where it condenses and creates clouds. Because the water vapor at the air on the surface isn't going to produce clouds unless the actual temperature is the same or very close to that. So what happens is, as air rises, it becomes colder. And when that air cools to what is called the dew point, you're going to have some sort of visible condensation, such as clouds or fog or mist or something like that. Below that altitude, because the air is rising, you're going to have some, not necessarily a lot, but some turbulence. Above that, you're generally not going to feel it much, unless you have really strong winds aloft or something like that. There's a ton of factors. I'm probably not explaining it as well as I could, or if I did some more research on it, I mean, I could probably use a refresher or somebody who is an expert in this kind of stuff. But yeah, as a general rule of thumb, you're not going to get as much turbulence above those clouds as you are below or in. It is kind of choppy up here right now. We are getting some pretty strong crosswinds. They're not really strong, actually. They're between 10 and 15 knots. But they're gusty. They're not consistent. So that's why we're kind of experiencing this bit of bumpiness. Let's grab a quick look outside, and yeah, that up ahead does not look very fun. There's a town right here. I believe that is Hampton. Well, we might be over Estill. No, that's down here. Or remember this whenever you get on a plane, yeah. Yeah, it's true. I mean, you'll feel it in commercial aircraft as well. And it isn't 100% of the time going to be that way. But as a general rule of thumb, I minored in aviation meteorology when I went through college 12 to 15 years ago. And it was phenomenal. I've been fascinated with weather since I was a little kid. And aviation weather really took that and expanded upon the basics as to what is going on above the ground. And aviation, you know, is so unique in that weather is so important to it. More so than if you're driving on a road. And I would argue more so than if you are sailing on a ship or a boat out on the ocean. Although weather is really important out there too. It's just kind of different. But now you're dealing with weather in the three-dimensional aspect. Whereas on the ground, it's more two-dimensional. Low fuel on the left. Alright. Oh. So in the Diamond, rather than switching fuel tanks like you do in the Cirrus, what you do is turn on the fuel transfer switch, and it pumps fuel from the right tank to the left tank. And the left tank is the one that feeds the engine. I forgot to turn that off. We don't need it on. The left tank fuels the engine. Or feeds the engine, I should say. And the right tank is kind of reserved, also for balance. So when the left gets low, you just turn that switch on and take fuel from the right tank, send it to the left. $14 minutes and... oh, that's pretty. I like that right there. I've never flown in a DA40 in the real world, but from what I've heard, the view is incredible. I have flown in a DA20, which is like a DA40 except it only has 2 seats, and yeah, the view was absolutely spectacular, completely uninhibited. They call it like a bubble cockpit or a bubble canopy. And yeah, probably the best view I've ever had from an airplane. By the way, what days do you stream? No particular days. It's kind of just at random. If I feel like I'm gonna stream, or feel like I want to, I'm gonna. And if I don't, then I don't. I've had a lot going on lately. so I haven't been on much. But as a general rule of thumb, I do try to stream most days of the week. I know I've taken a good kind of week and a half break, but alright. So let's go ahead and pull the weather for Savannah here. 030 at 9. So runway 1 would be the best option. Runway 10 is an option. 28 is an option. We'd take a little bit of a tailwind. 19, unfortunately, which is direct, is not a good choice if we don't want to land with a 1 knot. Or a 9 knot tailwind. So I would say what we can go ahead and do is actually just enter the traffic pattern for runway 1. So what I'm going to go ahead and do select approach, and we're going to choose visual runway 1. Fuel is balancing out, not quite there yet. Ah! Wrong switch. Little bit of change in course. It should soon give us a point for top of descent. Yeah, there it is out there. And at that point, we'll go ahead, cut the power, and descend on our way in. Alright, and I'm going to step away real quick. We'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. And yeah, we're going through some clouds. That's actually really pretty. Alright. Left tank is back above the right, so we can go ahead and switch that off there. 10 Celsius. Up here at altitude. We're gonna be going through a little more. Top of descent point is coming up, so we're gonna go ahead and drop the altitude down to 1,500 feet. Not really sure why our indicated speed has increased. Haven't changed the power setting. But yeah, I mean, just look at the way the clouds are building up over here. Yeah, so it definitely would have been the right move to pick up an IFR clearance. And I mean, here we are, only 10 miles away from the airport. Well, now, right now we're 13, 14. And if we were going straight into runway 19, yeah, we would have started a descent much sooner. But yeah, here we go. We're gonna go ahead and pull back to about 40% on the power. This is pretty though. I love going through clouds like this when the sun is low, whether it's sunrise or just after or a little before sunset or something like that. Alright, we are going to go ahead and turn the pitot heat on, even though it is above 5 degrees Celsius. Just as a precaution because we are flying through visible moisture. Now the view really is amazing, yeah. Now, did the weather automatically update? Three 3011. We are in Georgia. Actually, right here off the left wing is the Savannah River, which separates Georgia from South Carolina. So we have passed over that, so we are in Georgia. The actual city of Savannah sits right on the river. And of course, the airport is tucked a little bit further back. Second busiest airport in the state of Georgia, of course behind Atlanta, which is the busiest airport in the world. So yeah, we're looking pretty good right now, though. Alright, yep. So if we zoom in and take a look around... this doesn't really say a whole lot. Take a look outside, though. Yeah, so here's the airport. So that's runway 19. We're going to runway 1, which is going to be this direction. It's enviable that pilots see these amazing views in real life. Well, yeah. Yeah, sure, but what they have to deal with is really significant. So, alright. I'm going to disengage the autopilot, and we're actually going to take a bit of a shortcut here. Check our trim, set to take off. And I'm going to pull the power totally back. We're above VNO, so when you go above that speed, you really need to be careful to make sure that you're in smooth air. And we're okay right now. But tell you what we're going to do. We're going to level off. Let the speed drop a bit. And below 110 we can go half flaps, which we're going to do. Now that's going to let us take a steeper descent. As long as we stay below 110. Of course, there's the airport. We're right on top of it. Below 98, we can go full flaps. Now, we still are a bit high to do that. But what we could do is set that and steepen our descent rate even more. Alright, final checklist. Landing lights. Fuel pumps on. Parking brake is confirmed released. Yeah, we're looking good. Well, 21 knot wind from... Well, it's pretty much a direct crosswind, not quite, but... I mean, you can see as we're flying that we're getting pushed to the right. That's kind of remarkable. We don't usually have wind like that, like this, down here this close to the ground. What we're going to go ahead and do is level off, and we're going to go ahead and turn into the airport. Stuttering just a little bit there. I have a little bit of power there. And we're actually set up pretty well. Ah, we blew through final. Correct a little bit there. So the city of Savannah itself is off, kind of ahead and a little bit to the right. Take the power out. We do have full flaps in, so we need to stay below 98. Add a little power. And I mean, we could set activate vectors to final. Yeah, whatever. We're a little high, or a little low, rather. But we're okay. We're set up well. We're stable. So we're gonna follow the Vassie. It had 2 reds, which means we were low, and then the first one turned to white, which means we are good. Red over white, you're doing it right. Is the reminder that tells you how to read that signal. Now we're low, so we're gonna level off here, add some power in, and it did turn white and it dropped back off, and nope, now it's white again, so we're looking pretty good. Now it's too white, which means we're a little bit high. Pull the power back a little bit. Now we have white and red. We're looking good. That was the middle marker there. That was beeping, I think. Add some power. We're low now. That helps a bit. Now we're good. Take the power out. Just a little bit in. Now we're floating. Take the power out. And just kind of float her down to the ground. Oh, now we're floating. Minus 47, not bad. But we're airborne again a little bit. Yeah. Just, come on. Hang in there. Now, you know what? Maybe we didn't. Well, you know what? Yeah, so minus 47 is actually pretty good. And when I heard the stall horn go off, I was like, did we just go back airborne? But it looked like we didn't. Just the plane kind of wanted to keep the nose in the air. Alright, we're clear. Landing light off, taxi light on. And thank you, throttle, for malfunctioning like you do. Let's go ahead and zoom in on the range. Wrong way. Alright, I think we can go park over here. So what we're going to do is go forward, take a right turn, and then a left into the ramp. Here we go, we'll turn in here. And it doesn't look like there's anybody over here to park us, but we can park ourselves. Whatever. And again, the throttle malfunctioning. We'll stop here. That looks like a pretty good place to park. Yeah, and you see my throttle malfunction. You see how it kind of is stuttering and jumping up like that? It shouldn't be doing that. So, yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. Fuel pump can come off. Power idle. To the extent that the malfunctioning throttle will allow it. Shut up, Jonathan. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've said it a few times on stream. Yeah, my real name is Jonathan, so that's what everybody knows me as. But yeah, it says it up at the top in the corner when I start up the simulator. Ace Jonathan. Flap syrup. Is this flight added to flight time as an experience? Yes, it is. Yeah, no matter what plane that you fly, it is tracked by experience. You know, so it's added to your logbook as your overall flight experience. Taxi off. Nav lights can come off. The strobe stays on until we shut the engine down. Power is idle. It's confirmed. Switches are off. Avionics master off. Alright, that's shut down 53 minutes. And I said it was going to be between 45 and 51. So, a couple minutes over that there. Alright, that's set there. Battery master off. This plane is really simple compared to the Cirrus. Alright, there we go, folks. Welcome to Savannah, Georgia. Hope you enjoyed the flight from Columbia, South Carolina down to here. Thanks for joining me as always, and I appreciate you all. And until next time, take care, stay safe,